Welcome to this month's Boss Your Morning Masterclass. Burn bright, don't burn out. This is for the doers, the givers, the all-in kind of people who push hard and pour into everyone and everything around them, often at the expense of themselves. In last month's masterclass, we talked about what happens when motivation dips, especially in stormy seasons. We explored why darker days impact our moods, and we unpacked the difference between reacting emotionally and regulating ourselves consciously. So if you haven't yet watched Staying Steady in Stormy Seasons, go back and take it in. It's a great foundation for what we're diving into tonight, because now we're building on it. Tonight is about recognizing when your fire, your energy, your creativity, your drive is quietly flickering or dangerously close to burnout, and what to do about it. What we'll cover tonight is the warning signs, burnout versus seasonal tiredness. We'll look at the science, as always, why a full cup matters and what actually fills it. We'll look at some tools and tactics, what to do when you hit overwhelm. And we're going to build your Burn Bright plan, a simple 3-part reset before January. So the warning signs, burnout versus seasonal tiredness. Let's start with what we're not talking about. We're not talking about being a bit tired because it's darker and colder. That's real, and we covered that last month. What we're talking about tonight is that full body, mind drained exhaustion. It's the kind of tiredness that makes everything feel hard, even things you usually enjoy. Getting snappy with people that you care about, decision fatigue, mental fog, a short fuse, and often guilt. Because you know something's off, but you feel like you should be coping. Does that sound familiar? That's not laziness. That's not failure. That's burnout creeping in. Now, let me say this clearly. You can be high functioning and still be burnt out. Burnt out doesn't always look like crying in a dark room. Sometimes it looks like working like a machine and quietly dying inside. So I had to laugh this week. A conversation in our Mini Me Mindfulness team WhatsApp went something like this. I said, "Hi team, delighted to announce we've been accepted on the UK Register of Learning Providers. This is a big deal for us as a training organisation." One of the team replies, "Can we get some marketing to go with this, please?" And a moment later, I respond, "It's done. It's already on the franchise hub." Then the comments started rolling in. "Amazing, so bloody efficient." I've come to the conclusion, Tessa is the original AI. No human works that fast. And then someone else says, "Explains why she doesn't need sleep like the rest of us." We all laughed. It was funny. It was a hilarious conversation. But what I want to share is the truth behind the punchline. I've mapped out 2025 in detail. Yes, I've already built marketing assets and scheduled delivery before the announcement even went out. And yes, on the surface, it looks effortless. But the reality, there have been plenty of very late nights in the office this year, often after a full day of teaching. There have been months where I was working and still am at 120% to stay on track with our ambitious growth goals. And I'm proud of what we've built. But I'll be honest, some days I'm going so fast, my body and my mind are completely wiped out as I turn off the office light, sometimes way past midnight. What people don't see, unless they boss their morning with me, is the intentional reset that I build into every single morning. What they feel is the outcome of that: clarity, calm, momentum, success. But it's not magic. It's not AI. It's mindset. Now, here's the science and why a full cup really does matter. The one thing I do every single morning without fail is fill my own cup first. Even when I have a 15-hour day ahead, I start with stillness. I breathe, I visualize, I remind myself what matters. Because if I don't start full, I'll run empty fast. Now, the neuroscience that backs this up, when we feel in control of our day from the start, cortisol, our stress hormone levels, they drop. And also micro wins in the morning, they activate the brain's reward system, reinforcing motivation. Repeated behavior creates neural pathways, changing how we see ourselves. And you've heard me say it before. We don't just build habits, habits build us. Every time you follow through, no matter how small, you reinforce the narrative that you are someone who takes action. That internal identity that really matters, as that trust in yourself will show up in everything that you do next. Now, I'm all for working hard, but a constant hustle is not the message I want to portray or support. I know this level of effort isn't sustainable in the long term, and I have no intention of this being my everyday reality forever. But sometimes when you're chasing big things, when you want to make your mark, you do go into the trenches. You dig deep. You accept a shorter period of being obsessed so you can set yourself up for the next phase. Consider, for example, Lewis Hamilton. Even with all his skill, the championships, the world-class team behind him, he still accepts phases of being all in to win. One of his quotes, "I'm willing to take any amount of pain to win." It resonates because high achievers often go hard for a while. But the trick is build the post-peak phase where systems kick in. Your rhythm carries you and the peace becomes sustainable rather than frantic. Now, here's the caveat I want to put out. And it's especially relevant if you are employed. Working in a school, maybe you're teaching or working in an education setting. I see lots of people in that environment right now, or any role where you're serving others. Now, according to the 2025 Teacher Wellbeing Index by Education Support, staff wellbeing in education is now at its lowest level since records began in 2019. 76% of education staff report feeling stressed, and 36% are at risk of probable clinical depression. What that means is the system is under strain. The culture of giving everything, ignoring the tank, is not just unsustainable, it is unsafe. So here's the truth. While the system needs to change, I also believe this. We must take 100% responsibility for protecting our mental well-being. We must put our own oxygen mask on first before helping others around us. And we cannot give our best to others if we are constantly running on empty. So whether you're self-employed, running your own empire, or employed in a demanding role, you deserve to feel good in your own mind and body. Yes, you may step into phases of high commitment, but you also need a strategy to reset, recover, and realign in the next phase. Because the goal is not to burn out, it's to burn bright. So yes, I'm okay with short-term pressure, but here's the thing, it's a season, not a lifestyle. And that's why I plan for my pace to change in 2026. This season of push will be followed by one of deeper rhythm, spaciousness. And I'm okay with pressure because I'm also committed to the reset. Let's talk about how we build that back in. Let's pause and be honest with ourselves. When you're overwhelmed, what's your default? Do you scroll? Do you procrastinate? Do you push harder? Instead, try this reset strategy. The rule of one. Do just one thing. Right now, not the biggest thing, the simplest. One email, one glass of water, one walk around the block. This builds up your momentum. Another thing is to block your time. Instead of a to-do list that's a mile long, block 90-minute sprints with breaks. Your brain works better in short bursts. And know your burnout tells. What's mine? Now, I get forgetful and I start to scroll. In fact, I know this and I have a phone stand on my desk, and above it, I have put a note that says, fight the urge, 15 minutes equals flow. As I learned from TJ Power in his book Dose, that if you can focus and push past the 15 minutes, you enter a flow state which is highly productive. And I'm sure I'm not unique here. TJ Power also adds, we have now invented a way in which we can quickly satisfy the deep kind of dopamine urge within us by simply picking up our phone and opening social media. And these quick dopamine hits, they will spike and crash our dopamine system, and they leave us feeling demotivated, lethargic, and low. So within my 90-minute block, I will resist the urge and push past to short 30-minute blocks, then taking a short walk away from my desk or making a cup of tea before returning to my time block to focus with renewed energy. Now, once you know your telltale sign, you can respond quicker and not react slower. And if you need to, ask for help. Whether it's your team, your partner, your mentor, your coach, don't try to carry everything alone. Sometimes just saying it out loud helps you see things more clearly. And if there's nobody immediately available to talk to, that's where journaling steps in. Journaling is like having a conversation with your inner coach. It helps you to process your thoughts, externalize your worries, and create space for clarity. The Stoics practiced this daily. Journaling wasn't a nice to have, it was an essential tool for managing the inner world. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and the renowned Stoic, I'm actually reading a book about him at the moment, kept a private journal to reflect, plan, and build resilience. Now, his writings, later published as meditations, are now some of the most powerful mindset teachings in history. Let's just pause with one of his entries. He said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. This is often paraphrased as, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Now, this comes from his personal journal written between 170 and 180 AD. And whilst he was the emperor of Rome and often on military campaigns, he wrote it in Greek for his own self-reflection, never intending for publication. So that quote is nearly 1,850 years old and still one of the most powerful reframes on self-leadership in the face of external chaos. A timeless reminder that while we cannot control what happens, we can choose how we respond. And what's really cool today is that we back these ancient teachings with modern neuroscience and psychology. A study from the University of Texas found that journaling can strengthen the immune system. It can reduce stress and improve problem-solving clarity. So if your mind feels noisy, your thoughts feel tangled, or your emotions are running high, then realize that you have the power over your mind. Write it out of your head, onto paper, into perspective. That act alone can create a micro reset in your nervous system and help you move from overwhelm to ownership. So let's take ownership of the year. We are now in the final stretch of the year, the last 6 weeks. This is when most people either give up on their goals or panic and try to cram too much in. Instead, I want you to finish the year with power, not pressure. Let's build your 3-part Burn Bright plan. So, step 1, write this down if you can. We want to review. What's realistic to achieve by the 20th of December? Let's start with something simple, but not always easy. A proper, honest, grown-up review of what's actually possible between now and the 20th. Because here's the truth, most people forget you don't need to finish the year doing everything. You will still carry an action list or a to-do list into January, and that's okay. You don't need to finish everything. You need to finish the year doing what matters. So let's be real. Let's think about December. Now, it's not a normal month. We've got school events, work deadlines, Christmas concerts, family plans, social invites, emotional load, and on top of that, the natural energy dip that comes with darker days. So this step is not about pushing harder or downing tools on everything. It's not your it's not your kind of get out of jail free card. This is where we really need to get clear about what is possible. So I want you to imagine this. The 20th of December rolls round, which it will be here before we know it. You shut your laptop or turn off your computer. You light a candle, you sit back, and you feel a wave of calm wash over you. Because you didn't drag chaos into Christmas. You wrapped up what mattered ahead of time, not just the presents. You closed the tabs in your mind. You created space for joy. You protected your peace. That's the goal. So, how do we get there? Let's walk through it. Let's start with the big picture. Ask yourself, what are the top 3 things I truly want to complete before the 20th of December? What will make me feel proud? What will relieve pressure in January? Now, it's not a list of every unfinished thing, everything people expect of you, everything your perfectionist wants you to squeeze in. It's a list of strategic, aligned, high impact priorities, the things that give you the biggest emotional or practical return. Be honest about your capacity. November and December are not the months for fantasy timelines. Look at your diary and ask, how much time do I actually have? What days are already full? What tasks require the most mental energy? And be compassionate with yourself. You are human. That's why reviewing realistically is an act of self-care and an act of emotional intelligence. Make the invisible visible. Most overwhelm isn't coming from tasks, it's coming from tasks floating around in your head. Write it all down or create a spreadsheet or use the notes in your phone. When it's on paper or at least visible and out of your head, it becomes measurable. It becomes plannable. It becomes doable. Your clarity increases and your stress decreases. Your nervous system gets the message. We're in control again. So define what done looks like. And this one's huge. Sent, not perfect. Started, not mastered. Delegated, not owned. Simplified, not expanded. Done is better than ideal. We then want to create the kind of pre-festive finish line. Bring it all together. By the 20th of December, you're going to complete your top 3 aligned goals. Clear the mental clutter. Close the stress loops. Create space for joy and walk into the festive period feeling light, not loaded. Because being present with the people that you love, that is the real win of the festive season. The ability to be present, that's the real gift. And when we talk about review, what we're really talking about is being intentional, being strategic, being kind to yourself. Let's set yourself up to finish this year with calm confidence, not chaos and caffeine. This step is your foundation and it's the clarity before the action. It's how you create a December you actually enjoy and a January you walk into with momentum. Remember, time doesn't stop. It keeps rolling and you can pick up your other tasks in January or not, which leads us on to our next step. Step number 2. So we've reviewed. The next thing we need to do is remove what doesn't matter anymore. Because once you've done your review, once you know what truly matters, this next step is just as important. You need to remove what doesn't, because the truth is we can't do it all. More importantly, we're not meant to. This step is about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your headspace by letting go of things that don't serve you. Not forever, but right now. So many of us are carrying to-do lists that are padded with things that either were never ours to begin with, they don't align with where we're going, or simply aren't urgent right now. This is your permission slip to stop dragging things around. And here's how we do it. We're going to run a priority filter. So take a look at what's still on your mental load or written list and ask, does this move the needle? Does this align with my values or my current goals? Does it need to happen before the 20th of December? If it's a yes to those questions, it stays. If it's a no, we let it go. You're not giving up on the task forever. You're choosing not now. You are allowed to defer. You're allowed to delete. You're allowed to delegate. This is you leading your energy, not being led by guilt or perfectionism, some of the self-sabotage traits that we spoke about in a previous masterclass. So simplify where you can. Look at where you are. Look at whether you can shrink the task without compromising the result. Maybe it's switching a big meal prep day for batch cooking 2 soups and calling it a win. Sending voice notes instead of emails. Choosing a simple gift strategy rather than overcomplicating the Christmas list. Every simplification is a gift to your nervous system. And remember, we're not trying to impress people, we're trying to preserve ourselves. So let go of the invisible load. Some of the most exhausting things aren't the physical tasks at all. They're conversations you keep replaying. Expectations you're trying to meet. And worries that spiral after bedtime. This invisible load is heavy, and you don't have to carry it alone. This is where journaling comes in again. Write it down, externalize it, and give it somewhere to live outside your body. Even better, share it with someone you trust. A friend, a partner, a coach, a community like ours. You are not weak for needing help. You're wise for creating space. So stop saying yes when you mean no. This might sting a bit, but it's often the biggest unlock. If your calendar is full of obligations that you don't really want to say yes to, then you're leaking energy on a daily basis. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to say, I'd love to, but I can't commit to that right now. This month is really full, so I'm being strict with my time. You can say, thanks so much for thinking of me. It's a no this time. Saying no to others is often saying yes to yourself. So what doesn't matter anymore? What can go? What can shrink? What can wait? This isn't about being ruthless. It's about being resourceful. You can't do everything, but you can do what matters. And that's more than enough. This is how we reduce the noise, reclaim control, and create capacity for the things that make the biggest difference. You're not just removing tasks. You're removing guilt. You're removing chaos. You're removing everything that blocks your light from shining fully. Our final step is reinforce. So we've reviewed, we have removed, and we want to reinforce. What will help you finish strong? Now, we're on the final step, and it's all about anchoring in the habits, the routines, the rituals that will carry you to the finish line. Because once you've reviewed what matters, and removed what doesn't fit. You're left with the space to be intentional. Now let's use it well. This is where we shift from, I hope I can stay consistent, to this is how I show up on purpose. So ask yourself, what routines, rituals, or tasks will help me finish 2025 proud, grounded, and strong? Lock in your non-negotiables. These are the habits that support your energy, your mindset, and your follow through, no matter what. It might be a 30-minute boss your morning routine every weekday morning with me. It might be your weekly planning block on a Sunday. It might be drinking 2 litres of water a day. It might be daily movement, however that looks for you. The key here is consistency, not intensity. Pick small, high impact habits you can actually stick to for the next 30 days. And remember, small things done consistently become big things over time. So create that supportive environment. Don't rely on motivation, build systems. And this might mean putting your journal and your headphones by your kettle, so you're cued to reflect and reset. It might mean setting up a shared calendar with your partner so December doesn't become a logistical minefield or nightmare, whichever way you want to look at it. Also, scheduling weekly check-ins with your accountability buddy. Do you even have one? Or can you count on yourself? Make it easy to win. When your environment supports your habits, you don't have to use willpower. The structure does the work for you. And stack micro wins. Here's a little neuroscience boost. Every time you do something that aligns with your values, no matter how small, your brain releases dopamine. That hit of dopamine increases motivation, focus, and optimism. So when in doubt, stack micro wins. Tick the box. Win. Show up even when it's hard. Win. Say no to something that drains you. Massive win. This creates momentum, and momentum is what gets us through the year end with power, not pressure. So visualize your December finish line. This is where it gets fun. Close your eyes for a moment and picture yourself on the 20th of December. You've finished strong. You've done what mattered. You've protected your peace. You're not rushing. You're not behind. You're ready to enjoy the rest of the year, present with the people you love. That version of you, they are built by the actions you take today. So visualize that version every morning. Let them guide your decisions, because once you can feel it, you're more likely to follow through. This final step, reinforce, is your bridge. It takes you from good intentions to daily follow through, from hope to habit, from pressure to power, from burnout to burning bright. So don't just know what matters, act like it matters. Let your habits tell the story of who you're becoming, and finish 2025 with your head high, your heart full, and your energy intact. Your Burn Bright Reset Recap. Let's finish with a quick summary. Step 1, review. What matters most? What does done look like? Step 2, remove. What can you let go of to protect your energy? And number 3, reinforce. What daily habits will help you find proud, not panicked? You've got this. And if you want help pulling it all into place, you know where to find me. Your future self is already thanking you. So let's burn bright, not burn out. You're meant to shine. So here's your invitation. Download the Boss Your Morning app. My top 10 book recommendations are also inside, some inspirational, practical, and they're all powerful. And there's science in what we do. There's structure in what we do, and there's also support there for you when you need it. And if you want personalized help, book a one-to-one strategy session through the app. And as I'm committed to help you in ending your year strong, join me Monday to Friday in our VIP community for free. Use code TESSA, TESSA 30, as you can see on the screen, for a 30-day trial. You're not alone, you're not behind, you are just one habit away from a better rhythm. So protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. And let's burn bright.